Let's have some fun with this. Let's have some fun. George Floyd, knee on neck, right? 9 minutes and 29 seconds, right? So on May 25th, 2020, Minneapolis, I forgot it happened even in Minneapolis. What the hell am I trying to say? Minneapolis. What the? I can't speak. Minneapolis. Wow. On May 25th, 2020, Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd by kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Okay, let's not even debate that, right? Let's go to knee on neck, white man. Watch this, white man. Keep in mind, this was 9 minutes and 29 seconds. No. There you go, right here. The killing of Tony Timper, right? On August 10th, 2016, this was 4 years prior to George Floyd. In August 10th, 2016, Anthony Tony Allen Timper, that's a long name, a 32-year-old unarmed white man was killed in Dallas, Texas by police officer Dustin Dillard. Officer have responded to the call that Timper requested aid for a mental breakdown due to the fact that he had not taken his prescription medication for schizophrenia and depression. So he called the cops on himself. That is super duper important that he already identified that he did not take his medication and he was tripping and he called the cops on himself. Okay. Dillard pushed his body weight onto Timper on the ground for around 14 minutes. Remember, we just 9 minutes and 29 seconds. I thought it was 11 minutes with George Floyd, but whatever it was. But 14 minutes after he was already restrained. So this is after he was already restrained. He put his knee on his neck, back, whatever, how you want to say it, restrained after all. And officers ignored pleas from Timper that he was in pain and he was afraid he was going to die. Timper's death was ruled homicide due to stress of being restrained and extreme physical exertion and toxic effects of previous, I can't say this word, white substance use, right? All of this together, even his toxicology report, right? When it comes to George Floyd, I don't know about this white substance use overdose. But when it comes to George Floyd had enough fentanyl in him, I think, to take down a couple horses. And even in the video, you see him, because he was with his dealer when he got caught. Even in the video, he had the pill or something in his mouth. I think he spit it out. In the video, you can see this. In the video, also, the officers was trying to help him because he's a big dude. I forgot how tall he is, but he big, and them cop cars is really small. So he was in back of the cop car, right? They tried to put him in back of the cop car, but he was resistant. He said he's not going in there. And then he said he just wanted to be put on the ground. So they got him out. So instead of him going inside the car, the first set of officers, really nice. They was like, all right, cool. And they put him on the ground outside. Now, keep in mind, you're still going to jail, buddy. So they took that, and then after, they was like, all right, well, now we have to take you to prison, so you have to get in the car. That's when he started tripping. And then he started tripping and saying he was claustrophobic and he can't breathe. But he was saying that before that he was even on the ground. He's been saying that. And they tried to help him by sitting him down on the curb. But that don't mean you get exempt from going to jail, right? So the officers had to do whatever the officers had to do. Now, when it comes to Derek Chauvin, we're talking about the kneeling on the neck, or if he died from that, or he died from the fentanyl overdose. But they were saying that he was going to end up dying anyway because he had too much fentanyl in his system. So we don't know if it's the overdose or if it was the neck. That doesn't even matter. The point is that it wasn't a big hoopla. When you hear about Tony Timper, when you hear about this guy, you're not going to, this is 4 years prior to that. And it was on his neck for 14 minutes and he was mentally ill and he called the cops himself. But the media was spinning, even talking about how George Floyd was calling for his mama when he said he want mama or something like that. And it just so turned out that they knew that mama was his girlfriend. But that's not big enough news for the media. The media needs they need people to riot. They need to say that he was even screaming for his mother when they knew that he wasn't screaming for his mother, he was screaming for his girlfriend. Once again, this does not mean that whatever was happening to him, if it was the knee on his neck, was right. But it just shows you how the media likes to spin things, even though they have the exact evidence and know exactly what it is that the man was saying and who he was calling. They would spin it in a way to rile people up, to get these riots to happen, these things. So they know when to use the anarchy. That's the point. When they want people to riot and they want people to do some stuff to cause some confusion, they'll do it. but never for the main things. Because if we can do that for George Floyd, then I think we can do that for all the child victims that's in the Epstein files. And then them lying and gaslighting the public about things not being in the Epstein files or the Epstein files not existing. I think you can riot for that. If you can riot for one person being ended by the police officer or drugs, however it went down, you could riot for tens of thousands of children missing in America, which they are. Tens of thousands of kids missing. I think it was like over 300,000, something like that, when the border was crossed in 2020 Biden era. You can riot for that. And you can also riot for the victims now today saying that like they was trafficked and things of that nature. And kids are still being hurt today. I think we can riot for that as well, right? But they won't want to spin it like that. They can get people riled up if they wanted to, but they choose not to. Why?